morning, guys. How you doing? Hope you're well. Bob here. Thought I'd come on and make a video about some stuff that's been on my mind, show some records. So let's get started. Picked this record up for about $6, and it is proof that you can still find cool records between $5 and $10. Super clean copy of Wild Cherry. Check out this cover. It is beautiful, right? Super vibrant looking, lots of red, all that. But of course it has Play That Funky Music, a rendition of Nowhere to Run. I Feel Sanctified is on here. This is a great record. It's cheap. It is on that early Epic label. These Epic pressings with the orange label sound incredible. It's a great record. Super funky. These guys, solid band. I watched a live performance on the Midnight Special. It's great. Les Paul Custom. This is fantastic. Cheap. You can find it. Yeah. If you see it, pick it up. I am still purchasing the Blue Note Classic Series records. And I recently picked up this one just based on the lineup and what everybody is saying here in the vinyl community. Gratian Moncour III, Evolution. Check it out. Lee Morgan, Jackie McLean, Bobby Hutcherson, Bob Cranshaw, and of course, Tony Williams. Got this pink cover. It's on the Blue Note label. Kept the inner sleeve. It is poly-lined. And this record, it's got some outside sounding moments, and it's modal, it's hard bop, it's a lot of things. It's really, really great. I would definitely suggest you picking it up. Now, there is, the leader is a trombone player, so you do have to be aware of this fact. Take my word for it. It's one of the more outside titles in the Blue Note canon, so I think it's definitely worth picking up and having in your collection. I think a lot of us have got more selective about which classic series and tone poets we've been picking up because the price has gone up and, you know, space is limited. But I think this one is a worthy buy. You know, when I first got into record collecting, you'd go in a record store and, you know, I'm a guitar player, I'm a musician, so I play guitar and keys and bass. Terrible drummer, but do own a drum kit. And I'm interested in guys that can really play their instruments, and I would go into these record shops looking for fusion music. And there was a bit of a stigma around it. But when I got into the vinyl community, I found out that a lot more people like fusion records than I thought. So here's one I've been spinning quite a bit. Features Chick Corea, Stanley Clarke, and Al Di Meola. Return to Forever, Romantic Warrior. Look at this cover. Beautiful illustration. You got a knight here. He's got these birds following him. It's really cool. This is a fantastic record. All these fusion records, Weather Report, Return to Forever, Mahavishnu, all this stuff is all recorded carefully and sounds incredible. You can really get into trouble if you're auditioning gear and the guy who's selling it to you is playing you all fusion records because they all sound fantastic. You have to be very careful because they're lush sounding recordings, lots of instrumentation, lots of texture. Chick is burning on this. Di Meola has toned for days. It's on, of course, Les Paul. You know, fun fact about Al, he has a 59 burst, might even be a 60. You know, which if you don't know is a rare, very rare Les Paul. They made them for just a few years, probably about $1,500 in total. They're many, many thousands of dollars. And at some point, Al painted his black. I love Al Di Meola. I love Chick Corea, so this was a no-brainer. Stanley Clarke, ultimate monster on the bass. So, yeah, really good. Great record. On the typical Columbia. Another $5 to $6 record. That one is near mint. Sounds incredible. Okay, last but not least, as we all know, and it has been much discussed topic in the vinyl community. Jeff Beck passed away this week, and for guys like me and all of my buddies that I hang around with, we're constantly talking about Jeff Beck. I've seen him a number of times, thankfully, and Jeff Beck is proof positive that in a sea of people doing essentially the same thing, you can forge your own style, become something that stands on its own, and imitation is impossible. He is the gold standard for guitar, possibly was the greatest living guitar player. He is a textural guitar player. His use of light and shade and his ability to create interesting interplay with the other instruments in the band while sticking to the melody. His interpretations of other people's songs, incredible. Because We Ended as Lovers and Superstition are cover tunes, obviously. Now, Superstition, interestingly enough, Jeff plays on Stevie Wonder's version, and he obviously plays on his own version. So he plays on both of the best versions of the song. That said, he is an irreplaceable force in the world and will be sadly missed. If you've never gotten into Jeff Beck, I would recommend a few records. I would start with Blow by Blow. 70s fusion record, possibly one of the best fusion records that ever existed. It is on the Orange Epic label. Now, if you find one up, it's not in there right now, it's on the turntable. If you find one on this Epic label, it'll probably sound pretty good, but the soundstage is really kind of different, and the keys and the guitar, the interplay between them is a little different. On the Orange labeled versions, right, the keys are kind of floating above everything. They're kind of loud, but they really sit in their own space in the mix. And Jeff's guitar, he's generally playing a lot of very specific single note stuff, so it really cuts through the mix. The Jeff Beck pressings on Columbia are definitely the best sounding, but here in the US, the early Epics are the best we have. You gotta have Blow by Blow, right? You gotta have Wired. Both of these records are chopped full of Jeff Beck classics. With Blow by Blow, you get She's a Woman, Because We've Ended as Lovers. You get the Freeway Jam, which is a Stone Cold classic, Constipated Duck. It's a fantastic record. With Wired, you get Lead Boots, Pork Pie Hat, Blue Wind. It's fantastic. Now, if you want to get into some of the vocal stuff, let me grab some records. I would suggest Truth, for sure. I've got the Mo-Fi. Sounds great. Yeah, we all know the deal. But Truth, also fantastic Jeff Beck record. Beck-Ola, Flash, Rough and Ready. The records that I just showed have lots and lots of songs on them. Some of the later Beck stuff have one or two cuts that made it into his permanent live set. Tunes like Big Block that were on Guitar Shop. Anytime you would go see Jeff, he would play that tune. Stuff to check out. Jeff Beck's incredible rendition of A Day in the Life, for sure. Definitely watch Jeff Beck at Ronnie Scott's. Definitely watch the Crossroads Festival. That was kind of a resurgence of Beck, like a few years back. Really fantastic. And yeah, it's a devastating blow to music in general. I think, unfortunately, we're going to be, getting a lot of that here in the coming days. So, yeah, I just wanted to come on and say a few words about that. But yeah, it's really painful. Anyway, all right, guys. I'll see you later.